Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now today we're featuring the gorgeous U50, but this time it's in full black and I think it looks rather cool in this configuration. Now I say that because the watch is available in quite a few different variations. You can have silver with the black bezel or all silver black, black with blue dial. So there are a few different options actually available on this watch. Now before I get too far into the review, I've got to say a big thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis and Gay of Coventry. I've said it many times, but I think they are literally possibly the top Sinn dealer in the whole of the UK. They've got a really good relationship with Sinn, and you want to watch, they can get it. But I must say at the moment, because of production issues at Sinn, these things are getting, quite hard to get hold of. So if you want this watch, I'd strongly recommend contacting them as soon as possible. So anyway, the U50. Now it's been out for a couple of years, the U50, but it just simply looks amazing. Because let's face it, it all came from their iconic U1 diver, which has been around for many years. And a lot of people wanted to see the U1 in a smaller case size, and this is what they came up with. So when it actually comes to sizes, let's talk about it. We're talking a 41mm case size here with only 11mm thin. I think that is really quite impressive. And a 47mm lug to lug. The bandwidth on this is 20mm. So let's have a look at that dial. The dial is just a non-nonsense kind of typical Sinn, and if you're used to the U1 diver, then this is, it just screams out U1, especially because you see the hour markers and the hands on this watch are what most Sinn fanatics call the Lego style hands, and they really do sort of like that. It's only this watch. You can see at a glance if this watch is a, kind of Sinn or not. It is their iconic shape and kind of dial layout for their U series of watches. And I think, it's really nice because lots of watches, especially dive watches out there, struggle to find their own identity. What I mean by that is a lot of watches, I hate to say it, look like the typical Submariner. And with exception of a few brands, and Sinn being one of them, you see this. This is, I say, a diver watch, and you can't help but, recognize this instantaneously as being a Sinn. They really did sort of like nail it with this design. Now the actual dial, as we can see, it's just a kind of like a matte black, well, satinized black finish on there. We have minimal text. We just have the rather nice Sinn logo at the top there, and the U50 automatic and 500 meters 50 bar. And to be fair, I think that is pretty damn impressive considering this is only 11mm thick. It is a 500-meter diver. Right down the very bottom there, we do have the made in Germany, which just looks cool, kind of hidden in the background there. The lume on this watch isn't too bad. There is a plenty of lume on there, even at the marker at the top of the bezel. And again, we have all the nice markings coming around assigned here. But I should point out we have a flat sapphire crystal. It does have plenty of AR coating, to be fair on there. It does a good job of trying to hide the reflections, I find, pretty well. And another kind of nice detail is the date window at the 3 o'clock position there does have a black background. So it doesn't really interfere with the kind of dial. It really, you have to look for it rather than it being an obvious sort of like blemish of the dial. I find you can, sometimes find on these. So as I say, we come out, we have this rather cool bezel. Now let's have a listen to the action. Very positive, and it feels quite nice actually. Back play, tiny bit of back play on there, I'm not going to lie, but it feels really, really positive. Now let's move this round here, and lines up absolutely spot on, no problems. Now this is where one of the tech features of Sinn comes in, as a lot of bezels on many watches, let me see, we've got a Seiko in for review there. If you want to pop that bezel off, you use a tool like this and you press it under and just simply pop it off. That's normal for many watch brands, including the likes of Rolex, Breitling and so forth. But Sinn use these a captive system. So basically on the actual case of a watch there's a groove, and inside a bezel is a ring which can be pressed in using these tiny little screws we see here, and they lock the bezel into position, so you end up with a very firm positive bezel. There's like no movement on there, which is, yeah, it's just one of those techie features we come to like kind of, you almost come to expect from Sinn, and it's a shame because some of their features are quite flash. It's just we expect them now. Now, as we come around to the case, obviously the big dominating feature of this watch is its full black coating on here. Now, a lot of watches do have a black coating, but it tends to come off over time, especially if you hit the watch or whatever, where this is a little bit more harder than a lot of watches out there. And I've said it before, basic steel starts off around about 200 Vickers in hardness. When Sinn uses special black hard coating, they use something called tegmenting, and that actually hardens the material up to over 1,000 Vickers, which makes it incredibly scratch resistant. And when they put the black hard coating on there, that then lifts it even higher to somewhere over 2,000 Vickers, and it means that you get a very hard to scratch watch. I do state hard to scratch. I don't say it is completely scratch resistant. If you try hard enough, you can scratch it. But to put it into perspective, here is my U2. And this U2 I've owned now for just over 9 years. And this is how well it's held up. You can see the clasp. Normally the clasp is where most watches take a bit of a beating. And this one is still doing well. There's a couple of tiny little marks there. That's come off the back of there. Something maybe there, but we're talking 9 years of use. Now, you show me another black hard coat, another PVD style or diamond light coated watch after 9 years, which, looks as good as this. So if you buy one of these, you can expect it to last, and that's what I like about these. Now, as we come round, we have a solid case back. Let's have a little bit of a better look at that. As you can see, a nice solid, the actual marking you see on the back of here, that little triangle there, that, or you can see it on there, that is the indication that it has the tegmented technology on there to make it hard. So underneath there, it's a shame you can't see it, you've got an SW301 Solita movement. Now this is, I say it's only 3.6 millimeters thick, and that's what allows this watch to be so thin and still have that incredible 500 meters worth of water resistancy. Now, it's a 25 dual movement, it has anti-magnetic properties. The power reserve, I think on the newer ones, it used to be 42 hours, but I believe with the new barrel system they have, it's round about 56 hours, which is a truly impressive kind of level of power reserve, so that's pretty good. It's also, this watch is a DIN approved certified dive watch. So people here have the ISO, but this is the DIN approved system. It has low pressure technology as well, means in sudden loss of pressure you shouldn't find the crystals popping out of a watch. Now, as we can see here, one thing I should point out, I did put this watch on the time grapher and it came out really well. I think it was around about +1 or 2 seconds, so pretty impressive. Now the bracelet on this watch is their typical H-link affair, but this watch is also available on silicone straps, so you can get the obvious black one with the you can see here with the black clasp on there to match it, but you can also start spicing it up a little bit. So let's say you choose to put the white silicone strap on it, and I think that looks really cool. I think that's quite an impressive looking strap for this one, especially in summer. Or you can go a little bit wild and go for red. Now you can have a red one there and it does look the biz, so it's really up to you which one you actually go with. But I think this is, yeah, it just looks great. I like the fact that, you know, if you're if you can only afford one watch and it's this watch, you can then start dressing it up and down with different kind of straps, or, you know, silicone straps or bands. Now, let's just zoom out here. We'll do a quick wrist check. Now, just before I do, Bob's wearing a 556 there, which we're going to do a review of soon. I'm still wearing my Panerai 177, which I got back from service the other day. So I'm kind of enjoying that still. Now, my wrist size is 7¼ inches. Now, to be fair, this watch isn't size, so you get the idea. But just look how much extra, you know, kind of length you get on that bracelet. So it's good to know if you're one of these people with a absolutely humongous size wrist, you should be able to get accommodation for this. The clasp on this does have micro adjustment as well, so you've covered it, and a dive link extension. So that's it on my wrist. So a 7¼ inch wrist, and that's what the watch actually looks like. And just look how flat it actually sits there. I think it really does look the business. I think, well, there's no thinking about it. You know, Sinn have scored a home run on this, because they literally, you can't, yeah, they're really hard to get hold of, these watches now. They just look so good, and they, you know, say very hard to get hold of. So anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of U50. Is it a watch for you? Would you consider it, or would it be the black or silver model you go for? Anyway, I'm going to leave you to it, guys, and stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the next review. All the best. Bye.